Great. Okay, so this dough is going to be coming out of the freezer. We're going to be trying to thaw it at room temperature, which is about 70 degrees, for at least 5 hours. Now, in warmer temperatures, it's probably going to thaw quicker than that. So what I want to show is just the process of getting it out of the bag. It is intended to be a sticky dough. And I've got rice flour. We'll also have regular flour at hand. So you're just going to sprinkle a little bit. Turn the bag inside out and try to get as much of this dough out of the bag as possible. This is a traditional Neapolitan style dough, and so it is very elastic. It's proofed for a long time. So I'm just putting a minimal amount of flour on it. Then the idea is to press some of the air bubbles out. It will be sticky, and that's okay. Just enough flour to allow you to work it. Roll it back into I'm kind of folding. I'm going to roll it back into a nice tight ball. Okay, so that should do it, and then we're just going to rest it on a little bit of flour. So when you work dough, you're actually exercising the gluten, which makes it more elastic. So at this point, now that it's back in a ball, it needs to rest for a few minutes. It's going to be too springy to roll it out into a pizza dough. This one has been sitting for the last 5 or 10 minutes, so you're going to notice that the gluten strands have relaxed a little bit. It's going to be much easier to stretch. So the couple things I wanted to demonstrate on camera for you all are that you're welcome to stretch by hand or with a rolling pin. But there is some technique to stretching by hand if you choose to go that route. If you were to start picking up the dough to stretch it this way, the middle is going to tend to stretch too thin too soon, and the heavier sides are going to pull it and stretch it, and you're going to have a hard time thinning out the edges. So the way several of us usually start are by working the dough around, thin with your thumb. I'm just pushing, turning it around and around, trying to thin this edge out first. I can already feel that this is getting thin, so I don't want to pick it up again until I'm ready to stretch it to just about its final shape. So I'm thinning the edge. I find that if you can do it by hand and not with a rolling pin, you actually get nicer big bubbles in the crust at the end if you like that. A rolling pin will press all those air bubbles out, and you won't get that look. Okay, so the edge is about as thin as I want it, and now what I'm just going to do is I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to flip it onto the back of my hand like this, and I'm going to use a motion of spreading my fingers to thin the remaining parts out in the center and on the edge of the crust.
Let me get underneath you for a second.
And it's getting thin quickly. I've been too long doing this. I'm supporting it all right now so that it doesn't stretch too much more and make holes. The goal with these doughs for the fair is going to be, it's a 12-ounce ball of dough, and we want a 12-inch pizza. So I'm almost there, and I might just do my final stretching once I put it on the pizza peel that has some rice flour on it. That's enough rice flour to create good traction to slide the dough into the oven. So I'm just going to flip, I'm going to stretch the final dough. You might decide, if you want to make it a little bit more round at this point, or you feel an area that's too thick, you can work it by hand at this point, but just, that's about it. That's about 12 inches. Stop for a second.